like Cucho Hernandez, like, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, he's gonna score maybe every game.
Maybe if he plays Atlanta every game, he will.
Dude, he haunts both John's and AJ's team. The day he landed for Columbus, he killed John's team. The day he landed in the playoffs, he killed AJ's team.
Comes off the. I was literally at that game, man. Literally, I was like maybe two rows from like that end of the goal. 2 rows like next to it. See him come on. I'm like, oh, fuck this guy. He comes on just right away. I'm like,
Honestly, like Cucho Hernandez, he's on a level of like I would say like maybe like 80% like 2018 Joseph Martinez.
I think AJ actually has it so spot on. The Cucho Hernandez, since he's come to MLS, reminds me of prime Joseph Martinez. He reminds me of prime Joseph, prime Oba. Like he reminds me, prime Giovinco. Like he reminds me of that type of player.
We are officially well into MLS Cup Playoffs 2023. I will say this, though. The most annoying part of where we are today, as we record on November 14th, is we officially hit the international break. For the first time, probably ever, but at least as far as I can remember, MLS playoffs are stuck due to an international break with how drawn out this format has us in 2023. With that said, perfect content opportunity. We want to go ahead today with this episode and rank every remaining team's odds and chances of winning MLS Cup. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to do it in a tier list fashion. We have all the teams who have been already eliminated at the point of the season that they were eliminated in this tier list as well, just for visuals. I'll go ahead and pull that up now, and then we'll just jump right in. We have 8 teams to rank. Next week, we will be predicting how these individual matchups as far as conference semifinals are actually going to finish and our predictions for those. But for today, we're slowly looking at each of the 8 teams' respective journeys ahead, the 2 or maybe 3 upcoming matches, and ranking their odds and chances to win MLS Cup. Let's get into it. All right, on screen, we got it. The categories are pretty self-explanatory from where we are in the tier list today. You either got a 10% chance, someone who's going to get knocked out in this next game in the conference semifinals. You got 25%, those who make it to the conference final. And then obviously the top 2 teams that go to MLS Cup have a 50-50 shot of making it there. Our order is our prediction, not really prediction, right? But our ranking of how we think any one of these teams can fare moving forward. So let's start with Philly. We're going to start with the East Conference, move over to the West here, the second part of this episode. The Union, 2-0 against the Revs. With that said, I still wasn't particularly impressed. I don't know how you guys felt about going into that. The Revs haven't been very impressive for like at least a month now. And it kind of showed. I feel like we predicted that a little bit in our round 1 video. If you haven't gone to see that, go check it out on YouTube. But the Union, I mean, let's start there. I don't know, AJ, just looking at the Eastern matchups, this was probably the least sexy of all of them.
That's a cool hoodie you got.
It kind of played out that way. Thanks, brother. I don't know, man. I mean, in my opinion, these guys are kind of low. From 1 to 8, where would you say these guys kind of rank up? Are they finishing conference semifinals? Maybe they make it to the final?
Oh, yeah, no, I think they are conference semifinal team. It's just they're kind of that kind of team that okay, their powers are waning a little bit. You know, last year they were in the final, but yeah, this year not as good, and I think their matchup against FC Cincy is going to be really tough, and I don't think they have the goods. So yeah,
I think I disagree.
It's going to be. Yeah,
disagree.
Here's some more supporter shield cursed. That's why Cincinnati won't make it through. Go ahead.
Well. Cincinnati when they play against Philly. Well, first and foremost, Cincinnati are the supporter shield winners, automatically making them not winning MLS Cup. So I know Philadelphia have been on a downwards trend. But when they come into the playoffs, Jim Curran knows how to get his team into a position and then choke it. This is not going to be the time they're going to choke it. Cincinnati, they did sweep the New York Red Bulls. I mean, likewise for Philadelphia Union. But I will say this. Cincinnati did not look that good in the second game. Unlike Philadelphia, who would argue looked good in both of their games against New England. And I think that's a tougher opponent. And I think they immobilized them a lot in both of the games. Unlike Cincinnati, who got lucky that New York Red Bulls somehow missed 2 penalties to win it. Plus, since you're supporter shield winners, Jim Curran knows how to get his team through. Pat Noonan is new to this. I think they did their best to get one around here, but I'm going to go with Cincy. Forget everything I said.
I can't.
Just talk yourself out of it, because it's
He heard
yeah.
the bottlers, and he heard himself say it, and automatically I think he just convinced himself that's not the way to go.
I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
Yeah, but to their fairness, like they did in their last game that they played in, they drew 2-2. They both had red cards. It looked more like an even game, but yeah, there's just Cincy, I feel like and you got to take into account the break might mess up some of these teams' momentums too.
That's true.
Yeah, 100%.
So it could be a total reset, and a lot. We could be wrong, but with Cincy, I don't. They've been strong all season. I think they'll continue to be strong in this round.
Their game against the Red Bulls does scare me though.
A little bit. But did you think that a team that's brand new, to an extent, right? At least as Supporters Shield winners, did we not expect them to have like a brain fart game? You know what I mean? Like a game that like it was just shithousery, jitters, and you just expected them to not look to kind of look lackluster.
But if this was last year, which they did play the Red Bulls, which it was last year where they got their first playoff win, sure. But like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Red Bulls surprisingly were gonna come out in game 2 with the win, because it wasn't for a late goal from one of their new signings, their DP signings, that saved it for them. And then again, Red Bulls being poo-poo in the shootout to not win. Like, it was thanks to the Red Bulls being poo that they weren't able to do it. It was less so Cincy being good, in my opinion.
But don't you feel like that would be something that they could build off of like knowing that they've already.
But the thing is, though, the Union aren't the Red Bulls. They will, as much as like they haven't been to their best, they will punish them, which they did prove that to me in the game against the Revs when they knew the Revs were going to have to play a tight game. They weren't going to let much opportunities go because of Mark Anthony Kay's very controversial red card. I actually didn't think it was a red when I watched the game. I know people, but he stomped. He could have killed him, bro, dude. No offense to Gazdag, but he was rolling around right in front of him when he was trying to get the ball. Like, I don't know what Kay was like. It was clearly accidental. Like, if you play the game, you know he didn't mean to do that. But that's past the point. They had to score a goal because they knew New England were going to play it tight. At that point, they were going to play for PKs. They still squeezed out the goal, played clean in the match. They really didn't give them any opportunities. Yeah. But I'm still going to go with Cincy. I think they're going to do one better as last year, but that's about it.
Man, I agree with every point you just made. I think they're actually AJ too. I think their best capabilities are that they could exploit Cincy on potentially would just be defensive, try to hit them on the counter. They can create chances. When they played back in I think it was early to mid-April, it was a 1-0 at Cincy. And the game was very possession heavy towards Cincinnati, but I'm pretty sure the Union got more opportunities, like even statistically on the sheet, more opportunities than Cincinnati did, despite having pretty significantly less possession. I think that we see another one of those games probably, but I think the home crowd's going to be behind this one. I actually think Cincinnati goes a little bit further than what you guys are projecting. I think we'll talk about Cincy, but I don't know. Philadelphia to me, the buck kind of stops here. All in agreement?
I guess.
Don't disagree.
I guess. We put up twice already, bro. We're 7 minutes into the show. Okay. Well, we'll leave the Philly Union here. We are going to rank others that we feel could finish here as well. And speaking of Cincinnati, we're just kind of hyping them up a little bit, right? That's our next team up. That is who Union's going to play. I'll be honest, bro, and I'm happy to have the debate. But this is a team that I have finishing pretty decently high.
Dude, they're supporter shield winners.
Listen to me. Hold on. You guys are operating off of like this emotion based on previous seasons. All I know is in this format, and even in regular season, the advantage home teams have had, especially when it comes to the top of either conference, is insane. The advantage that goes to home teams is wild. And every single match Cincinnati will play from here on out is going to be at home, at the TQL, in front of that crazy crowd. And I think that their jitters game,
taxes, and supporter shield winners not winning MLS Cup.
What's
that? Not winning it. I said death, taxes, and supporter shield winners.
They may not win, but I think they could get there. And that's the run that I see them going on. Is unless another team proves me otherwise, I don't see an argument for it.
Yeah, it depends on who they face in the conference finals, which it might give away a little bit here. But in my opinion, if it's in Ohio, if it's an intra-Ohio conference finals, it doesn't matter. It's just like it didn't matter for SKC in St. Louis. Like that goes out the window. Like those fans are going to be louder, probably the away fans than the actual home fans. It might be so.
And you're assuming that the Columbus Crew go into Orlando when they couldn't even go into Atlanta and get the job done, right? They just got smacked by an Atlanta team.
What are you trying to say about Atlanta United?
And then so now to go to the 2 seed, a team's been pretty decent under Pareja defensively. I wouldn't say that they have any one particular strength. Orlando just is a pretty
their strength is definitely not playing at home. They're a better team on the road than they are at home. So
I don't know. I think the playoff record up to this point will I think debate that a little bit. But more importantly, they've won playoff games at home already. I think that against the Columbus Crew, who the only away showing that we have, they got smacked. I think that there's solid opportunity for the Crew to exit earlier than most people anticipated, including us. And Orlando going through. So I'm kind of banking on that. I think Cincy beats Orlando.
Okay,
that's what I'm banking on.
Okay. Go ahead.
No,
I see Shaoyan like he's over here.
He's,
dude, Orlando.
All Shaoyan is a Supporters Shield Cup winners don't win merchant. That's all
guys. Orlando beat Nashville.
That's
mid-SC. Mid-SC.
Exactly. Yeah.
In 2 games, they handled them.
Let's
we are a much tougher team at home than
you disrespecting Atlanta United like that.
Like Orlando City are not good at home. Atlanta United are.
I'm just saying, winning a playoff game at home, again, it unlocks a few things, and we're gonna be coming off the international break. Okay, so there's a lot at play, and I don't know, boys. I was 7 for 8 on the first video. I'm going to take that with me.
But this is just for argument's sake. Let's just say that things go the way that you're saying that it's going to go.
Okay.
So let's just say Orlando gets through Columbus. Let's just say that the last matchup that Cincy and Orlando played, Orlando had a red card and they still won that game at Cincy. So how do you see that playing out?
It could happen.
How do you see that playing out, though?
It could happen. Like I said, to me, Orlando's like a pretty aggressively physical team. They'll make it difficult for you throughout the game. You won't be comfortable. Maybe I believe too much in the whole Matt Miazga thing is really interesting, and that could plague them too. I'm not discarding that.
How many bans is he confirmed to have?
I don't think anything's confirmed. I think everyone just anticipates what we all think is coming. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a suspension. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be the rest of playoffs or if he's going to have some opportunity to come back. But I think that they may not need him for Philly. They may need him for what comes after that. And against Orlando, man, I still haven't, John, thought that far ahead to make like a solid prediction. But I don't think it takes anything away from what I'm saying here. I'm going to argue for Cincy because they give me no reason not to believe in them up to this point.
Who here believes Cincy's a conference final team? Raise your hand.
Conference finals, sure.
All right, looks like you're outvoted, Jose. Put it down.
I mean, if you have solid reasoning, I'll really move it.
I do.
Give me logic. All I'm saying is I don't want it. Supporter shields don't win. Cool, bro. Fine.
It's a legit
throw that shit out the window. And I want to hear real.
No, but okay. To this point, this isn't the only league that this has happened, dude. This happens all the time. This happens all the time. The great teams, especially when it comes to playoff formats, the great teams tend to not do so great. Whoever's number one tends to not do so well. This is proven in Liga MX. This is the only other league that you can argue has some sort of a playoff and a league format.
But equally, there are also plenty of ones who go on to win the whole damn thing. And again, I will point even in Liga MX that doesn't happen. I will point to last season, guys. I have recent data. What do you guys have outside of gut emotion?
But before that,
96. One team.
You're right. So we're living in the same MLS world today that we were even 2 years ago. Sure, guys. I mean, if you want to be nostalgia merchants, I'm totally down to play that game too. But what I'm saying is, I'm looking at what happened last season, right? The most recent you could possibly get, the most comparable.
Since he's not LAFC, but the thing is, the difference between
this year is just, I think, as cohesive as a unit.
The difference between that LAFC and this Cincy team is that LAFC team was bloodied. Like they've been to multiple playoff runs, they've lost multiple conference finals. They know what it tastes like to lose.
So is this Cincinnati's first?
Dude, this is Cincy's second ever playoff run.
Okay, but either way, though, it's not their first go around. If this was their first time ever, like they were St. Louis. Did I not? I completely agree with every point you make in St. Louis.
I think they'll go one step farther than last year.
Maybe, right? But
2
who's to say
wins,
It takes
two
steps though. It takes steps.
Yeah,
I
it
don't think
takes
that this
steps,
is the year
man.
they make
I
that
agree.
big. that
All
big
I'm
leap.
saying
And
is
that LAFC team.
one seeds are
had
one seed for a
Garth-
reason. That's all I'm saying.
Had
Is that,
Gareth
is that
Bale coming off the bench.
it's so easy to, I think, to just point to like a superstition or whatever, right? Which is what I'll call it. I'll call it a superstition. You guys don't have to. I think that at the end of the day, the league hasn't been around long enough to be like, oh, Supporter Shield winners don't do shit. Like, I don't know.
It's
I mean,
true though.
I don't know.
up to this
quarter of a
point,
century.
yeah. But I think the league's changing, and I don't know. I think at the end of the day, number ones are number one for a reason. Until they give me a reason
And
not
that's
to
why
believe,
St. Louis got swept.
swept. But
Yes.
with that said, putting all English rules aside, I think we all knew St. Louis was going to get swept. They weren't even in good form heading into the playoffs. Cincinnati hasn't given us a reason. They've been resting players for weeks now. They come in against a team that just won a playoff game in a big way.
I just mentioned how they didn't play that well against the Red Bull
in one game, and then the other one they pumped 3 like it was nothing. And you can argue that the Red Bulls made it a dogfight in that game too, made it an ugly shithousery game that went to penalty kicks.
They could have just won it though. That's the worst part. Red Bulls could have just won.
I think we should do this. We should get to the next team, and then we'll get to Columbus, and then we'll actually have the conversation about.
Okay,
Cincy
fine.
or-
Yeah, we can put them here. All I'm saying is, trust me, if I'm right, you guys are never gonna fucking hear the end of it. Like, you'll never hear the end of it. But anyway, we'll jump into that next one. Orlando.
Yep. So
Semifinals.
Yep.
Come on, bro. They're gonna beat Columbus.
Dude, come on. Let the guy that got penetrated by Columbus, let him tell him about his experience.
It was,
I mean, first off, bro, anyway, you went to a
party.
game 3. There's no penetration there, AJ. I don't care what anybody says.
Nah, dude. I'm sorry, but the 2 games in Columbus did not turn out well.
It looked like you guys just weren't ready for game 3. But game 1, I saw more potential than most people give you credit for.
Oh no, that was the worst game of the 3.
You guys didn't have Almada. I mean, you guys tried to play a defensive setup that you don't know how to play. And the guy who's on the ball more than anybody else on your team wasn't on the field. I mean, like, what did you expect, right? Not only did you change not only was Almada back for game 2, but you changed the formation and everything. The system was different. So I don't know. It's not comparable to me.
I think it's this. It's we kind of just let them in. Unfortunately, in that because I mean the first goal, Darlington Nagbe, it's just like you
Dude,
can't
that goal was
get
sloppy.
the ball right there. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like Miles Robinson should have cleared it way better. Saba Lapsanice should have just let it go out before that. So yeah, we gifted some goals to them, even though they were well hit. So it's one of these things where, like, though they punish you, they're clinical. They're a team that has a lot of weapons and
a lot of firepower.
Yeah, exactly. So against Orlando City, like, yeah, they have so much better firepower. And yes, defensively, a little bit suspect here and there, but I don't think Orlando has enough in attack to do anything.
2-1-0 wins thanks to a banger goal and a mistake.
That Cartagena banger was fire.
No, that's insane. That was a great goal. But I'm just saying, like, you do what you have to do against mid SC. Like, you did it, but like, I don't know.
I agree.
Man.
Not super impressive. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing style points. I'm saying that they got the job done, even if it had to be scrappy, twice in a row. You build on that experience, especially in a 2-week break, and you try your best to make your home field a fortress again. And more importantly, I like to think that Orlando, I don't know if again, I'm not saying Atlanta's dog shit. There's only a handful of games where I've seen Orlando look as offensively rampant as they did against Columbus. That's all I'm going to say as far as like the season goes. I think if they can have that kind of performance, or if Columbus can let them in the way they let Atlanta in, I think there's more hope for Orlando than you guys are giving them credit for.
No, Orlando shit. I think we can confirm that.
I'll let you confirm that. I think anybody else who sees my point, let me know down in the comments. Because these guys, obviously, at least Xiaoyan's lost on it. But I will say that for the majority of the group, feels conference semifinals is appropriate. I'm not going to argue it a ton. I think Columbus Crew is probably the most well-equipped team holistically. I do think there's one more team in these playoffs that has more offensive firepower, but we'll get to them later on in this episode. So for now, we'll keep them there. 10% chance potentially of making it all the way to MLS Cup final. I don't see them in the MLS Cup final, so I'm not going to argue too much. Columbus Crew.
Final, baby.
Cup
Put
final.
them up. Final.
I think you
Yep.
made the final. I think that's
It's probably maybe the second most complete team pretty much left here. And I think their attack, their coach, like their coach is probably the most dynamic of any of these left in here. And so he can adjust, he can, rotate every single match. You don't know what he's going to do. And the players that are that are starters, they're bang on starters for a reason. Like Cucho Hernandez, it's like, okay, he's gonna score maybe every game. Like it's at least against us anyway. But it's just like
I was gonna say maybe if he plays Atlanta every game, he will. But
exactly.
I've seen that man. I've seen that man in person, man. That dude is crazy.
Yeah, it's just
Crazy.
like he is.
Dude, he haunts both John's and AJ's team. The day he landed for Columbus, he killed John's team. The day he landed in the playoffs, he killed AJ's team.
I was literally at that game, man. Literally, I was like maybe two rows from like that end of the goal. 2 rows like next to it. See him come on live. Who the fuck this guy? He comes on.
Change
right
the
away,
whole game and slap Chicago.
Bro, it's just crazy that, like, for him, imagine his perspective, his POV, right? He leaves Europe, and this is like the defenders he's playing against. I'm not shitting on MLS, but there is a gap there, right?
No,
so, like,
100%.
Bro, I saw him take off his shirt, celebrate like on my end, like in front of me. I'm like,
damn, bro.
You didn't blow him a kiss, John? Be like,
bro, honestly, man, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I told him to fuck off, but there would have been some words.
No, I told him words, but obviously.
But no, honestly, like Cucho Hernandez, he's on a level of like I would say like maybe like 80% like 2018 Joseph Martinez.
I think he's not staying in MLS.
No, he shouldn't. He needs to be moving on at some point. Like
I
don't know why he came back, like all the details, but like I don't know. I thought it was weird when
he was at Watford. Wasn't
he? I think AJ actually has it so spot on. Cucho Hernandez, since he's come to MLS, reminds me of Prime Joseph Martinez. He reminds me of Prime Joseph, Prime Oba. Like he reminds me Prime Giovinco. Like he reminds me of that type of player.
Yeah,
he's just a killer in all aspects. Like he's
inevitable.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy, right? We're saying this after like just you have to count a separate body of work because you can't look at previous years, right? But just this half season alone and the playoffs, it's kind of been unreal, just his level of productivity. I'm not going to fight it too much. For me, it's really between Cincy and Columbus. I think Columbus could prove me wrong and on my belief that Cincy is number one for a reason. And like I said, in my opinion, second best offensive team. But this next team, to me, for whatever fucking reason, man, I don't know what it is. I think it was on full display against St. Louis, but this has probably been the case since Gotti and Pulido came back into the side back in like late May. Sporting Kansas City looks so dangerous. I don't know what it is, man. I can't put my finger on these guys. I try to have no expectations, but they always surpass what I'm thinking they're going to do. And to me, while they're not as well-rounded as Columbus, they have more firepower.
And they're
on the west side of things. I don't know. They're not in home field territory anymore. They do have to pull off some crazy shit on the road, but they might be able to with how many goals they can score. I mean, can they get past this 10% area and make their way into conference final?
They can. Will they? This is probably the
Houston looks shaky, bro. Houston did not look straightforward. They won 2 of the 3 in PKs.
To be honest, I don't really ever know what to expect from Houston. They're like so up and down. Like they'll give you a good game here, then they'll perform like shit, like how they did in these past 2.
I don't think they played like shit. Salt Lake's a good team.
They're a good team. I mean, they are a good team. I don't think they play like shit either. I actually think they're pretty.
But I don't feel like
that was obviously going to be a close tie. Those are 2 teams that like I think those were 2 of my favorites to make a deep run in the West. I knew it wasn't gonna be that like it wasn't gonna be Houston blowing them out. Like it was going to be close margins.
But I feel like Sporting has like the ability to kill them off. You know what I mean? Because they do have firepower. They do. They just do.
If KC wins this, they will win in
Daniel
PKs.
Chaloy, Pulido, you're telling me that this team can't find a way with those 3 options alone? Now they did. Again, everyone talked about the season-ending injury earlier in the week, I believe, right? Was it training or was it at the actual last game?
No, it was like apparently he tore his ACL and then still played injured in that game.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Well, either way, that is going to hurt him a little bit. But I don't think I think Houston will definitely get goals. I just think Sporting has enough to like not even just keep up, but probably surpass them. I don't know. This is like a
It's the
weird
toughest
gut
call.
feeling. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is very
it
tough.
really is. I think you're probably right that it's probably conference semifinals, but I mean, yeah, just going by
I don't know.
home
It's
teams
tough
a bit.
now that we talked. Originally, like I had this matchup, and then obviously I went with Houston.
I did too.
It is a little bit tough, but for me, I think playing in Houston, if this was in Kansas City, it might have been a whole different story. But in
That's true.
Houston, I think I think they played the first game in Houston was really good by the Dynamo, winning 2-1. I know on paper it's not like a savvy or blowout game. I thought it was a great performance by them. I am a little worried about SKC. I just feel like they've done it. Like for me, it's like I feel like they're celebrating. Even the fans are so happy about this. Like I just feel like they don't have it like any more. Like they've celebrated.
It's
They're already
house
happy.
money. It's house
Yeah,
money.
it is house. And
Right.
like I just don't think they'll have enough to like go again to be like, oh, we clapped our rivals in the playoffs. We got basically our like the win that we'll always be able to hold it over St. Louis. They celebrated that. It's kind of like when Seattle beat Minnesota in that crazy comeback win to go to MLS Cup in 2020, but they just didn't have enough in the final. You could just tell they celebrated that too much.
Yeah, it felt like that was their cup final. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like they just wanted to win that one. If they won that one, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. House money, man. Like with how the season started and where they are today, like, dude, somehow Peter Vermees just looks like a G. Just looks like, you know what, man? I knew the whole time. I don't know why you guys ever doubted me.
Yeah, why'd you guys doubt that I gave myself a 5-year contract? I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, bro. He looks like he knew all along. I mean, the old and the wise, I guess. But he's there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sporting did make a deeper run than just this next round against Houston. But we did make a strong case. Yeah, it really could go either way. We'll keep them there for now. There's always potential to move. Now, LAFC and Seattle. Let's go with LAFC first. LAFC, this is not 2022 LAFC. Hear me out on this argument. I think LAFC right now are the Western Conference's polished version of Nashville SC. I think
totally get that.
Listen, hold on, listen to me. I think they become extremely Bowanga dependent. I don't see a ton of offensive contribution, which used to be in the midway point of the season was everything for LAFC. Vancouver to me showed that I mean, dude, Vancouver was actually I had them going nowhere, and they actually showed more offensive ability against LAFC than I ever thought ever.
Vancouver surprised me 25 minutes into game 1 and in game 2, but everything else was kind of irrelevant. And honestly, though, even the goal LAFC got was never a penalty.
And that's why I think like them having to go on the road and now having watched 2 games at Lumen Field myself and even more throughout the regular season when Seattle was playing and the way Seattle's playing right now too. I honestly don't. Might be spoiling another video. I just don't see LAFC getting beyond Seattle. Like I think Seattle will win. I think this is going to be somewhat of a failure for LAFC and how much they've invested maybe this season, but also indicative of all the other cup exits we've seen. So I don't know.
Do you think they burn like they did in the Champions League?
Burn?
Not. I mean, it was embarrassing
because the way that they crashed out of the Champions League was crazy.
It just in the final. It wasn't even a final, bro. Leon completely dominated.
In game 2, yeah.
Even game 1, I was like, dude, this is not that close. I mean, I don't know.
There was a big difference, but you think that that happens to them again in this series, or you?
It wouldn't surprise me. Like
really
if they get game 1 version of Seattle, bro, that could be like a 2-0, 3-1. Like in my opinion, if they get game 1 version of Seattle was different. Nuhu was
game
on
1.
some level shit that I have not seen. Just
game 1,
they were high octane,
but then game 2, we got to hit back to reality.
I mean, bro, it's an away game in MLS. Like it is what it is, right? Like,
no, I know, but that's what concerns me. It's like game. I agree with you. Like that was the first time I was like,
you're at home.
Really? No. Let me cook for a second. I was just gonna say that was like the first time I was like really positive about the Sounders on the channel. I was just like, whoa, like I've not seen that type of game in like how we performed in a long time. And then we played Dallas. I was like, nah, now we're back to how I thought we were.
I was freaking out. I honestly thought I was like something bad's gonna happen. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but something bad's gonna happn. Like, we're just gonna win this straightforward of a way, but it ended up
Because
working
we
out.
honestly, even though like people say, oh, we should have gone the penalty and whatnot, we didn't deserve to win in Dallas. And honestly, we should have probably gotten clapped in Dallas. You guys could have made it 4-1. Like, you guys were so close to being able to do that. And even the game in Seattle, I don't know. There's just a lot of storylines going into this LAFC game because it's in Seattle. Will Vela play? Because he never starts the games usually in Seattle. Seattle's never lost to LAFC in the playoffs. But I don't remember the last time Seattle beat LAFC. It's been a long time.
I just don't know if you can look at
and
this.
We didn't score against them at all this season. We didn't
Yeah.
score. I don't remember the last time we scored against LAFC. Those are the only in Bouanga, regardless if it is Bouanga reliant, unlike Nashville, Bouanga's still really good.
Yeah, he will score. So
he will
it's a matter of
1000%. And against Alex fucking Roldan, bro, he's about to make him look like his.
No, I think I give Roldan a little more credit.
Defensively, Roldan is terrible
in playoffs. I mean, he is the one who injured Alan Velasco. So I mean, I'm not like hyping him up by any means, but I think he did decently against our wingers, like better than I thought. I thought we would take better advantage of Seattle's back line, and we kind of
took better advantage of Nuhu's side in Dallas.
But dude, in game one, Nuhu was built different. That's what I'm saying. I think Seattle at home. If this was in LA, totally different.
Oh yeah, no, we were fucked.
Probably different pick. But I think in Lumen Field, with the momentum you guys have,
one thing that's surprising me is Vela just like, dude, he's like falling off the face of the earth. Like, I don't even remember the last time anyone's talked about Vela or like him scoring or assisting.
He's 34, man. He's old. Like,
stop. I don't want to hear the age being the reason.
Though he is like, yeah, he's obviously not going to perform to his ladder. Like, because when he was performing at his peak, he was still in his 20s. You know, like there's a difference. Obviously, there's going to be a fall off at age 34, but I also don't feel like he has to do as much because he's got Bouanda with him. Like, you know, like it's not Vela heavy as it was before.
Bro, at home in the playoffs, Seattle are averaging 17 shots plus a game.
Well, those are all 3 against Dallas, though.
But you didn't get anywhere. What I'm saying, though, well, first off, we're the only other team that rivals you guys defensively in the West is us. So take that.
No, I know, but like
LAFC doesn't have those numbers.
That Dallas-Seattle game, like, let's keep it 100. Going into game 3, it's who can be less shit. And we were the fortunate one to be less shit. Like, let's be honest.
The goal was to not get scored on first, and that's kind of what happened, right? It was like, just don't get scored on first, and then we did, and it was over. But I don't know, man. I think you're underplaying the two.
I'm not under. I didn't even say anything. I'm just
in the Western Conference. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, bro. But,
I mean, and as well though, the farewell tour for Lodeiro.
Oh yeah, Lodeiro.
Yeah, bro. Massive momentum on that too. 100%.
That's true. I agree.
He's not going to play for him,
dude. Also, that pisses me off. Liao Chu started all 3 games, and he was a bum all 3 games. He was shit all 3 games.
He was okay.
No, he was dog poo.
Lodeiro did look good off the bench though. So maybe
Lodeiro looked fantastic off the bench all 3 games.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the logic. It's like, do you want to ruin that by having him start?
There are some guys. Diaz looked straight dog poo when he came up.
All right. We'll get to Seattle. But LAFC.
Honestly, from the West, they're my favorites to make MLS Cup final. That's just me though.
That might be just you.
That might be just you.
I think it's conference finals. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Shai, you better run with me on this, man. You're the Seattle fan. I actually think they get beat. I think that this is their last stop.
I say conference finals.
And
it's just at some point, LAFC has to beat Seattle in the play. That's the thing that worries me. At some point, that record has to be broken.
But why this year?
I don't fucking know, man. If there's any year,
they're worse than they were last year.
I know, but we are too. Like, okay, not worse than last year, but I'm saying we're like worse than we have been going into playoffs. Like you said that before. Like this.
Yes, but and I agree with you to an extent. But like this is the most healthy you guys have been in months.
That's true. I agree.
Everyone's back, home, and your 2 most recent home matches. Offensively, you guys were completely firing on all cylinders. And the goals may not always show, but in a 3rd playoff game at home, I like to think that they
I think this is super 50-50. Like I back Seattle, but at the same time, I get like LAFC has had Seattle's number recently, and when I think of big games at Lumen Field, when LAFC needed to play well, they won. Like, for example, their first ever game when they had to come to Seattle, they had to win that game. They played actually really well. So I don't know. It's 50-50. I'm cool with, I mean, like I predicted originally LAFC back when I did my bracket. I'm cool with Seattle advancing too. I'd like that. I don't know, man.
Of course you would like that.
Come on, man. I have some faith. Again,
Okay, conference semifinals for the video conference semifinals.
Yes, for the vibes. All right, conference semifinals it is. Well, we gotta let him be the tiebreaker on that one, boys. And I have to win one of these debates, otherwise, what's the fucking point of being the host? Okay. Seattle Sounders.
I guess
that point.
Final.
It's the final.
Do we think it's
final?
Do we think it's
well, if you're crashing LAFC out, then it has to be the final.
I mean, Houston Dynamo do not have a better team than
I
you
do not trust Houston at all.
I rate Houston highly, though. That's the thing.
Me too. I actually rate Houston highly.
Wow. It's not better than you guys.
I don't know, right? On form now, if we played Houston now,
this is very, very close. This is a hard debate. Actually,
this was even harder than LAFC. Like, I think I would pip Houston a bit more than LA. Like, Houston's good,
but they're not playing each other though. Like, Houston's not playing LA.
No, I know they're playing us. That's my point exactly. I'm scared. I would be scared to play this Houston team, regardless in Houston or Seattle.
And you're not scared to play LAFC?
I think if you can find a plan for Bouanga, which not many people can, right? But if you can have some kind of plan, which I think as long as someone like Brian,
I don't think Bouanga's actually ever scored no, I think maybe he has one goal ever against Seattle, which I think is a crazy stat.
Dallas shut him out in the second part of the regular season 2-0 when we beat LAFC at our house. I just think it's different when you have to go on the road. That's all I'm going to say. It's like it's different, especially with a team that knows how to somewhat set up defensively, which the stats bode pretty well for Seattle. But if it's a multi-pronged attack like Houston has, then I don't know, man. This gets really, really dicey.
Yeah, with Baird, Bossy.
Dude, Hector can shoot, Carrasquilla can shoot, Quinones.
That's the thing that would be the crazy part about if Houston played. It's the battle of the midfielders. Rusnak, João Paulo versus and I would rate
Dude, Rusnak versus Ache would be fire. That'd be a great Western Conference final.
Dorsey. That's the thing is, I just think Houston's firepower, they would be more clinical than Seattle's. I know Jordan Morris scored, but like Jordan loves scoring against Dallas in the playoffs.
Bro, he missed so many though.
I know he did. There were so many chances that fell on his left foot, and he was so hesitant on taking it. Like, it's like, bro.
I felt bad. I was like,
that's the thing I tell Jose. That's the thing I've been telling you about all season. Like, we see Morris scores goals, but he has like abundance of chances, like so many that I'm like, you could have done a lot better than.
He's a pace merchant. It's okay. He's a pace merchant. It's all right.
He's a factual pace merchant.
Factual pace merchant. I don't know, man. Okay, so we got to find like our Seattle, Houston. I'm not gonna say pick, right? But who do you see going deeper, right? At some point, if they have to play each other in the Western Conference
I would say
final,
Houston, just because they have trophy, like they have the silverware to back it.
Disagrees.
That's crazy to me.
No, I don't think so.
AJ doesn't agree either, so it comes down to me.
Yeah, because the potential of them doing a double, like no.
Bro, I don't know, man. When they won the Open Cup, did you not think that? Damn, if they actually get some kind of home advantage in playoffs, you don't think that they win?
No,
which they won't, right? Against Seattle, it'll have to be on the road. They're not a great road team. Yeah.
Wow. The fact you guys are just like, nah, it's like not even close in your guys' eyes. That's crazy.
It's not. It's really not. I mean, because if it was, to me, it's really if it was another matchup, if it was another
like
matchup,
a 3-game series.
Yeah, if it was that, if it was Houston at home, if it was any of that, like, it might be a different story. But like the way it's set up, I can't see it. Like, there's just
because of it. This is because of your LA pick. I'm just telling you this is why this is working out this way. This is because of your LA pick. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't need to say
I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think if there was somebody to beat them in all of the West on like if LA had to go somewhere and try to get a dub, and it might just
but that's what I mean. If they beat LA, what's gonna stop them from making the
that's
final?
The thing,
I just think it's the options for me. I'm saying if I had to pick an argument for Houston,
and I also feel like a lot of people are still underrating this Houston team, which I think is incredible. Like kind of like what John and AJ are doing now. Like I think this Houston team is a lot better.
Underrated.
They are underrated.
they're a very good team, very dangerous, but on the road, I mean, you
Yeah, they
guys have
are
that playoff
ass cheeks.
pedigree. Like it's
Yeah.
just
He's
like,
over here talking about they got the cup over here talking, and then he's not even
What do you
backing up
mean?
his own
I didn't bring
pedigree.
up we have
Does
the
he?
cup. I didn't say that.
Okay, look, I think that this is probably
A
it.
repeat of the
I'm gonna have
2020
to
final.
lean towards Seattle because I was so bullish on them against LAFC, and because I kind of agree with AJ in terms of experience. The Sounders are the most recent, run of experience outside of the Columbus Crew.
Dude, a
and
repeat
LAFC's
of
experience,
2020.
but they're just they're I don't know. To me, last year they were so well rounded. This season, it's Bawanga.
But the thing is, I know Seattle have experience and stuff. But I just don't know where the goals are gonna come from. I know Morris scored against Dallas. He just does that.
it could be some shithousery, but that's the beauty of defensive teams at
But
home.
2 games in a row.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know, bro. Against these types of teams, I would say, yeah, it's possible. Like, and look,
Especially at
RSL
home, yeah.
proved they can score on Houston, even on the road.
Well, that's not a problem. I wasn't worried about.
I mean,
You'll be
you
able
guys
to
have-
score. I think you'll be able to
Yeah.
score.
Yeah, and you guys have proven that you don't need to come out to actually, win a game. Like
That's true.
Very
you
true.
just
Very
sit
true.
and it's
Be
ugly,
pragmatic.
whatever.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think, yeah, it's kind of crazy that at least 2 of us here are giving your team more credit than you do. But I
Always.
will say, like it's how it always is on the show.
I didn't think especially watching this season and even in the playoff series. I just don't think we're an MLS Cup final. I'd give us the LAFC game. I said I agree with you guys there, but going to the final is just.
Well,
Would
let's
we
be real.
host-
Like, yeah,
we
like
hosted or Columbus.
yeah, well,
Columbus.
it'd be you,
It's-
right?
it's
No,
in the-
wait, okay, higher in the
everything-
Based off of
everything-
Shield.
points.
Everything's in the
Columbus,
East right
yeah.
now.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, rip.
But
Yeah, then we're
it is that
definitely
it's
fucked
like,
in the final.
yeah, in
No,
2020, like who would have thought that you guys would have made the final? It's like
Ooh,
Wait, so if crew get to the final,
It doesn't matter
is-
who continue to go through on the East. The East hosts the final.
huh?
They all
'Cause they have
finished
more- they have more
They all
points,
finished
yeah.
higher than everyone else.
Yeah.
Spurs.
I guess that makes sense. So either way, though, and I don't know about Seattle on the road, right? But I think getting to that Cup final, I mean, again, LAFC and Houston, it's doable. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be style points type of showing. It won't be goals heavy. Probably from either side, in my opinion. I think this could be just a scrappy game all the way around for both LAFC and the Houston Dynamo matchup. We just saw RSL go to penalties twice against them, but I can see you doing it both times. So I'm down to keep it like this, guys. I don't know about you.
I am. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
cool with that.
So the top, and we don't have to spoil any future. You know what? Let's leave it the way it is. We're not going to try to predict who the winner will be. This is how our rankings will work. We will dig in a very in-depth way as we get closer to the actual MLS Cup final, how that whole matchup will work. But man, if you've got this far in the episode, there's some juicy upsets. I think the most notable on this list being probably LAFC bowing out sooner than most fans have them bowing out, especially with, MVP, Bawanga, trying to rescue them and whatnot. That's what I think it will have to be. I really think
he hates
he will have
Gabonese
to
players.
You know what?
He hates
I'm
Aubameyang.
gonna make this wild prediction.
I hate Aubameyang.
But
Okay.
this might sound wild, but I think Vela comes off the bench and scores 2 to send LA to the conference finals.
What the fuck? You just were the one who said LA.
I know. I didn't say Seattle was going to get through. I said no.
Yeah,
So,
fair.
but that's my prediction. Vela comes off the bench, gets 2, comes back.
Why do you say that?
It's because you're writing him
Intuition.
off. You're writing him
Intuition.
off.
I didn't write him off.
You were talking about when's the last time people talked about Vela
I didn't.
Honestly,
bro,
when's the last time anybody talked about any player on that team not named
other than
Benny Bawanga?
Bawanga? Fair.
No.
Yeah, I'm being dead serious.
Dude,
like,
John's just out
that
for
whole
me.
team doesn't scare me.
John's just out for blood.
I like
No,
it.
I'm just gonna leave that there, and if it comes true, it comes true. You know.
Yeah, if he calls his shot and he makes it, Bella gets 2.
John,
I don't know.
John
I
finally
give
gets
up.
one of his shots in. That'd be
out,
great.
out of the many that I had all season that have just been turned out to not be.
Yeah, the
correct.
bricks that he's been laying. Yeah, I will say, it'll be the only take, like successful hot take that's better than Xiaoyan's Sporting Kansas City sweep St. Louis
Miba?
in 2. Oh, the Melia. I mean, to be fair, it's the only shootout he had. Like, if he did it twice for some reason in these playoffs already, I'd have been like, dude, Xiaoyan's I don't know, man. He's got a crystal ball lying around somewhere. I don't know what the hell's going on. But Like, no, I mean, it was a pretty good bet that he could have. They could have gone to PKs in one of these matchups, and Melio would come up big. That's kind of his thing, I think. I'm surprised Berkey didn't have more to say in that shootout.
Told you guys.
But it is what it is. So, all right. Well, I think our list is pretty much done. I mean, any last things that we move around? I know we got the conference finals or the cup finals settled, but yeah, I mean, we had to rank them, right? 1 to 8 on best chances to actually go far. Who's got the worst chances? Let's put it that way.
Oh, worst?
Who's got the worst chances? Who's bottom of the list?
I mean, Vegas chances probably SKC. Yeah, that makes
Really?
sense, actually. Yes.
Yeah, they probably have lower.
Where they're ranked just because they're 8 seed. Yeah,
because they also won't now have a single home game, unfortunately.
Exactly. So it's
Orlando or Philly.
Yeah,
I give Orlando more of a
probably
chance.
Orlando because of the home match. But
I would give it to. I would say the next one would be Orlando, in my opinion. I give it more to Philly, but that's just me.
Yeah, like if you actually look at it, like better.
I'm not going to fight you on it.
I would say it's
whatever.
Philly, yeah.
And then LAFC probably the biggest upset of that round, so we'll put it at the top.
Sure.
Definitely.
I think
that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. I think we're good. We're good. This list looks good. I'm not going to tweak with that anymore. All right, boys, we got it in. We got done. Next week we'll be actually making actual predictions for conference semifinals and finals, and I think that we have to do it together. Otherwise, there's no real hot takes in that video. But it's going to be fun. If you disagree with any of the picks that we had or the rankings from 1 to 8 and how we see the chances and odds for any one of these teams making a deeper run than just the conference semifinals, let us know down below. I think at the end of the day, we did have some comments that, I mean, more like on social media, Xiaoyan is kind of a wizard up to this point based on his SKC comments so far. I really want to see one of these other hot takes pan out, specifically mine. I think Cincinnati is going to break the curse. We'll see. They might break the curse this season. But anyway, from everybody here at Wake Up MLS, my name's Jose. That's Xiaoyan. That's John. That's AJ. We'll catch you guys next time.